English Mastery Podcast, your journey to learn and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Mastery Podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if you're coming back, we're really happy you're here again. Today's episode is not just about learning English. It's about something deeper. It's about time and the pressure we put on ourselves.
Yes, because let's be honest, how many times have you said, I should have started earlier, or now it's too late for me? Too late to learn English, too late to change careers, too late to try something new.
Exactly. And sometimes we don't say it out loud, but we feel it inside. We look at other people, we compare our lives, and we feel behind. And that feeling can be heavy.
But today, we want to slow things down. We want to talk to you, not teach you like a class, but talk to you like a real conversation. Because one simple sentence can change everything. It's never too late.
So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and just listen. You don't need to understand every word. Just feel the message.
This episode is about 45 minutes long. And we know that sounds like a lot. But think of it this way. If spending 45 minutes listening today could change how you feel about your journey, isn't that worth it?
You can listen while walking, while cooking, while doing whatever you need to do. Let the words flow into your mind naturally. Don't force anything. Just be present.
And before we begin, we want you to do something. Think of one thing you've been telling yourself you're too late for. Maybe it's English. Maybe it's something else. Hold that thought, because by the end of this episode, we hope you'll see it differently.
Are you ready?
Let's begin.
You know, many people think learning English is something you should do when you are young. And if you didn't do it at school, then you missed your chance. But life doesn't work like that. Life is not a straight line. Some people discover their dreams early, and others discover them later. And that doesn't make anyone better or worse. When you decide to learn English now, it doesn't mean you failed before. It means you are listening to yourself now. It means you are ready now. And that is powerful. Think about it this way. Maybe when you were younger, you had different priorities. You were building a family. You were starting a career. You were dealing with challenges that took all your energy. Those things were important too. You weren't wasting time. You were living your life. And now, at this moment, you have space for something new. That's not failure. That's growth.
I think one of the biggest problems is regret. We look back and say, if only I started 5 years ago. But the truth is, 5 years ago you were a different person. You had different problems, different responsibilities, maybe even different fears. So blaming your past self is not fair. What matters is this moment. Right now, you are here, listening, learning, trying. And that already means you are moving forward. You know what's interesting? People who started learning English 5 years ago also wish they had started earlier. It's a pattern. No matter when you start, your mind will sometimes wish you started sooner. But that's just the mind playing tricks. The real question is not, when should I have started? The real question is, am I willing to start now?
And let's talk about age for a moment. Because many people believe there's an age limit for learning. They think children learn languages easily, but adults struggle. And yes, children learn differently than adults. But adults have advantages too. Adults have discipline. Adults have motivation. Adults understand why they're learning. Children learn because they have to. Adults learn because they choose to. And that choice makes all the difference. There are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s who learn English successfully. Are they fluent like native speakers? Maybe not. But they can communicate. They can travel. they can connect with people around the world. And most importantly, they prove to themselves that growth is always possible, that learning never stops. That age is just a number, not a prison.
Another thing I want to mention is comparison. We live in a world where we see everyone else's progress on social media. We see young people speaking 5 languages. We see teenagers working for international companies. We see success stories everywhere. And then we look at ourselves and feel small. We feel like we're so far behind. But here's what you don't see on social media: the struggles, the doubts, the failures. Everyone has them. Even the people who look perfect online have moments where they want to give up. Comparing yourself to others is like comparing chapter 1 of your book to chapter 20 of someone else's book. It doesn't make sense. You're on your own journey. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you a little bit better today? Even just a tiny bit? Then you're winning. It's never too late to start learning. Your past decisions were right for that time in your life. Adults have unique advantages when learning. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. The only competition is with yesterday's version of yourself.
And let's talk about fear, because fear is always there. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding stupid. Fear of people judging your accent. But let me tell you something very important. Every fluent speaker you admire made thousands of mistakes. They were not confident at the beginning. Confidence comes after action, not before it. You don't wait to feel ready. You become ready by starting. I remember talking to a student once who told me, "I've been studying English for 3 years, but I never speak. I'm waiting until I'm good enough." And I asked her, "When will you be good enough?" She didn't have an answer. Because good enough is not a destination. It's a feeling that comes from practice. You will never feel ready if you never start. The only way to become confident is to speak, make mistakes, learn, and speak again.
Fear is natural. It's your brain trying to protect you from embarrassment, from failure, from judgment. But here's the truth. The fear you feel before speaking English is much bigger than what actually happens when you speak. Most of the time, when you finally speak, people are kind. They appreciate your effort. They don't laugh at your mistakes. And even if someone does judge you, so what? Their opinion doesn't define your worth. Their opinion is just noise. Think about the last time you heard someone speaking your native language with an accent. Did you judge them? Did you think they were stupid? Probably not. You probably respected them for trying. You probably wanted to help them. That's how most people feel when they hear you speaking English. They admire your courage. So the fear you're carrying is often bigger than reality.
Another fear people have is the fear of being misunderstood. They worry that if they don't speak perfectly, people won't understand them. But communication is not about perfection. It's about connection. Even if your grammar is not perfect, even if your pronunciation is not native-like, you can still communicate. You can still share ideas. You can still make friends. You can still work internationally. Perfection is not required. Effort is. And here's something beautiful. When you let go of perfection, learning becomes enjoyable. You stop stressing about every little mistake. You start focusing on the message, not the grammar. You start having real conversations instead of rehearsing sentences in your head. And that's when progress happens. Not when you're trying to be perfect, but when you're trying to be real.
I also want to talk about the fear of starting over. Many people feel like they've already spent so much time and energy on other things in their life. And now, to start something new, to go back to being a beginner, it feels exhausting. It feels like going backwards. But learning something new is not going backwards. It's going upwards. Every new skill you learn makes your brain stronger. Every challenge you face makes you more resilient. Starting over is not a setback. It's an upgrade. Confidence comes after action, not before it. The fear before speaking is bigger than the reality of speaking. Communication is about connection, not perfection. Starting something new is not going backwards, it's going upwards. Let go of perfection and focus on progress. Another thing people forget is that learning English is not a race. There is no finish line where someone gives you a prize and says, "Congratulations, you are done." It's a journey. Some days you feel progress. Other days you feel stuck. And both days are normal. What really matters is not speed, but consistency. Small steps, every day, change your life more than big plans you never start. People often ask me, how long will it take me to become fluent? And I understand why they ask. They want a timeline. They want to know when the hard work will pay off. But the truth is, there is no fixed answer. It depends on so many things. How much time you practice, how you practice, your motivation, your opportunities to use English. Everyone's journey is different, and that's okay.
What I find beautiful about learning is that it's not about the destination. It's about who you become along the way. When you commit to learning English, you don't just learn a language. You learn discipline. You learn patience. You learn resilience. You learn to push through discomfort. These skills don't just help you with English. They help you with everything in life. So even on days when your English doesn't feel like it's improving, you are still growing as a person. And progress is not always visible. Sometimes you study for weeks and feel like nothing is changing. But then one day, you're watching a movie and you realize you understood a whole scene without subtitles. Or you're reading an article and you notice you didn't need to look up as many words. Or someone asks you a question in English and you answer without translating in your head first. These moments are proof that your effort is working. Even when you can't see it, growth is happening.
I also want to remind you that rest is part of progress. Some people push themselves so hard that they burn out. They study for hours every day, trying to force fluency to happen faster. But your brain needs rest. It needs time to process what you've learned. It needs time to make connections. So if you take a day off from studying, that's not laziness. That's wisdom. You're allowing your brain to absorb and integrate everything you've been learning. Consistency doesn't mean studying every single second of every single day. It means showing up regularly, even if it's just for a few minutes. It means making English a part of your life, not a burden. If you enjoy the process, you'll keep going. If you hate the process, you'll quit. So find ways to make learning enjoyable. Listen to music you love. Watch shows that make you laugh. Read books that inspire you. When learning feels good, it becomes sustainable.
And let's talk about comparison again, but this time in a different way. Don't just avoid comparing yourself to others. Also avoid comparing yourself to some imaginary, perfect version of you. You know what I mean, that version of you that studies every day, never makes mistakes, always feels motivated, and learns at lightning speed. That person doesn't exist. Not for you, not for anyone. So stop measuring yourself against an impossible standard. Measure yourself against reality. Did you listen to English today? Did you try to speak? Did you read something? If yes, then you're doing great. Learning English is a journey, not a race. Progress is not always visible, but it's always happening. Rest is part of the learning process, not a sign of laziness. Make learning enjoyable so it becomes sustainable. Compare yourself to reality, not to an impossible standard.
Let me share some stories with you. Real stories of people who started late and still succeeded. Because sometimes the best way to believe something is possible is to see that others have already done it. There was a woman named Maria. She was 53 years old when she decided to learn English seriously. She had studied a little bit in school, but she never really used it. For most of her life, she worked in her home country, raised her children, and lived a simple life. But then her daughter moved to the United States, and Maria wanted to visit her. She wanted to talk to her grandchildren in English. She wanted to feel independent when she traveled. So she started learning. She took online classes. She watched English videos on YouTube. She practiced speaking with apps. And it was hard. She felt embarrassed when she made mistakes. She felt frustrated when she couldn't express her thoughts. But she didn't quit. After 2 years of consistent practice, she visited her daughter. And she was able to have conversations with her grandchildren. She was able to order food at restaurants. She was able to ask for directions. She wasn't fluent, but she was functional. And that was enough. She proved to herself that age doesn't stop learning. Determination does it.
Another story is about a man named Taro from Japan. He was 42 when he decided to learn English. He had always wanted to learn, but work and family life kept him too busy. Then his company started working with international clients, and he realized that English could open new opportunities for him. So he committed to studying every single day for at least 20 minutes. Some days he studied for an hour, other days only 10 minutes. But he never missed a day. After 3 years, his English improved so much that his company sent him to lead a project in Australia. He spent 6 months living there, working in English, making friends in English, experiencing life in English. And he told me later that those 6 months changed his life. Not just because of the language, but because he proved to himself that it's never too late to grow. He's now 50, and he still practices English daily. Not because he has to, but because he loves it.
And then there's the story of Anna. She was 61 when she retired. For her entire career, she worked as a teacher in her native language. When she retired, she felt lost. She didn't know what to do with all her free time. One day, she decided to finally learn English, something she had always wanted to do but never had time for. She joined a local English conversation group for seniors. At first, she could barely say a sentence. But the group was supportive. Everyone was learning together. There was no judgment, only encouragement. 5 years later, at 66, Anna traveled to England by herself. She stayed in hostels, talked to strangers, visited museums, and even made friends with people from different countries. She sent me a message saying, "I used to think my life was over when I retired. But learning English gave me a new beginning. I feel alive again." Her story reminds me that learning is not just about the skill. It's about rediscovering yourself. It's about proving that you're still capable of growth, no matter your age.
These stories are not rare. There are thousands of people around the world who start learning English later in life and succeed. They don't all become perfectly fluent, but they all gain something valuable: confidence, connection, and a sense of achievement. And that's what matters. So if you ever feel like you're too old, remember Maria, Taro, and Anna. Remember that your age is not a barrier. It's just a number. What matters is your willingness to try. Maria started at 53 and learned enough to connect with her grandchildren. Taro started at 42 and led international projects by 45. Anna started at 61 and traveled the world independently at 66. Age is not a barrier. Determination is what matters. Learning gives you confidence, connection, and achievement at any age. So maybe by now you're thinking, okay, I believe it's not too late. But where do I actually start? Let's talk about practical steps you can take today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Step 1. Start small. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to study English for 3 hours every day. That's overwhelming. Instead, say, I'm going to study for 10 minutes today. 10 minutes is manageable. 10 minutes doesn't feel scary. And once you start, you might naturally continue for longer. But even if you only do 10 minutes, that's progress. 10 minutes a day is better than 0 minutes a day. Step 2. Choose something you enjoy. If you hate reading grammar books, don't force yourself to read them. Find another way to learn. Watch movies. Listen to podcasts. Read comic books. Play video games in English. There are so many ways to practice. Find the one that makes you happy. Because if you enjoy it, you'll keep doing it. And consistency is the secret to success.
Step 3. Stop waiting for perfection. Many people spend months preparing to start. They buy books. They download apps. They make study schedules. But they never actually start. They're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect method, the perfect mood. But there is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. Even if your method is not perfect, even if you make mistakes, even if you feel awkward, start anyway. Action beats planning every single time. Step 4. Speak from day one. I know this sounds scary, but you don't need to speak to native speakers right away. You can speak to yourself. Talk about your day in English. Describe what you see around you. Narrate your actions. I'm making coffee. I'm sitting down. I'm opening my laptop. This helps your brain get used to producing English, not just receiving it. And when you finally speak to another person, it won't feel as terrifying because you've already been practicing.
Step 5. Find a community. Learning alone is hard. But learning with others makes it easier and more fun. Join online groups. Find language exchange partners. Take a class. Surround yourself with people who are also learning. When you see others making progress, it motivates you. When you see others struggling, it reminds you that you're not alone. Community makes the journey lighter. Step 6. Celebrate small wins. Every time you understand a sentence, celebrate. Every time you speak without translating, celebrate. Every time you finish a lesson, celebrate. Don't wait until you're fluent to feel proud of yourself. Be proud of every single step. Because every step matters. Every step brings you closer to your goal.
Step 7. Be kind to yourself. You will make mistakes. You will have bad days. You will feel frustrated. That's part of learning. Don't be harsh with yourself. Don't call yourself stupid or lazy or slow. Treat yourself the way you would treat a friend who's learning something new. Be patient. Be encouraging. Be compassionate. Self-criticism doesn't help you learn faster. Self-kindness does. Step 8. Remember your why. Why do you want to learn English? Is it for work? For travel? For personal growth? Write down your reason and look at it whenever you feel like giving up. Your why is your anchor. It reminds you that this effort has meaning. It reminds you that you're not just studying grammar. You're building a better future for yourself.
And here's one last piece of advice. Don't wait until you feel motivated. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel excited to study. Other days you won't. But if you only study when you feel motivated, you'll study inconsistently. Instead, build a routine. Make English a habit, like brushing your teeth. You don't brush your teeth only when you feel motivated. You do it because it's part of your routine. Make English the same way. Show up even when you don't feel like it. That's how real progress happens. Start small. Even 10 minutes a day is progress. Choose learning methods you actually enjoy. Stop waiting for perfection. Start now with what you have. Speak from day one, even if it's just to yourself. Find a community to make the journey easier. Celebrate every small win along the way. Be kind to yourself when you make mistakes. Remember your why to stay motivated. Build a routine instead of relying on motivation.
Before we finish, I want to remind you that this message goes beyond English. Yes, we've been talking about learning English. But the truth is, it's never too late for anything meaningful in your life. It's never too late to change careers. It's never too late to pursue a dream. It's never too late to repair a relationship. It's never too late to start taking care of your health. It's never too late to forgive yourself. It's never too late to try again. Whatever you've been telling yourself you're too late for, I want you to question that belief. Because most of the time, it's not true. It's just fear disguised as logic.
There are people who started businesses in their 60s and became successful. There are people who went back to university in their 50s and earned degrees. There are people who learned to paint, to dance, to write, to sing all later in life. And they didn't do it because they had extra time or extra talent. They did it because they decided that age would not define their possibilities. Your life is not over until it's over. And as long as you're alive, you have the opportunity to grow, to learn, to change, to become. Don't let the calendar tell you what you can or cannot do. You're the one who decides.
And if you start today, imagine where you could be in 1 year. Imagine the progress you could make. Imagine the confidence you could build. Imagine the opportunities that could open up for you. 1 year will pass whether you start or not. The question is, do you want to be in the same place 1 year from now? Or do you want to be somewhere better?
The choice is yours. And it always has been. It's never too late to pursue what matters to you. Age does not define your possibilities, you do. 1 year will pass anyway. Make it count. The choice to grow is always yours. If you are listening to this episode and thinking about your own life, your own goals, we want you to know something: you are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to start.
Yes, the moment you decide to try again, to learn again, to believe again, that moment is your new beginning. Age doesn't stop growth. Fear doesn't stop progress. Only stopping stops you.
So whether you are learning English for work, for travel, for confidence, or just for yourself, keep going. Even when it feels slow. Even when it feels hard.
Because one day, you'll look back and say, I'm glad I didn't give up.
Before we end, we want to leave you with a simple challenge. Today, do one small thing in English. Just one. Listen to a song. Read a paragraph. Speak one sentence out loud. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. Because that one small action is proof that you're moving forward.
And if you feel inspired by this episode, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Someone who's been telling themselves they're too late. Someone who's been holding back because of fear or doubt. Let them know that it's never too late.
Thank you for spending this time with us on the English Mastery Podcast.
If this episode touched you, we'd love to hear from you. Your story matters. Your journey matters.
Keep listening. Keep practicing. Keep believing.
And remember, it's never too late.
See you in the next episode. Take care.
And good luck on your journey.